Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Friday, the 12th of February, comes to you from London. And a little bit more red on the screen today, so we're just having a little bit of a weaker finish to the week. So if we look at our charts, we start with the dollar index, remembering this is my long-term weekly, my medium-term daily, and my short-term 60-minute chart. If we're below the cloud, we're bearish. If we're above the cloud, we're bullish. It's really that simple. And the corresponding point and figure charts, which of course are unique to Updata. I'm using Refinitiv Icon. If you're a private user, Metastock Zenith is the same feed, but of course, Updata is compatible with dozens of different data services, so you just run it on top of whatever you've got. So we start by looking at the dollar index, just recovering off the bottom a little bit there. It has had a pretty bad week, and we are still bearish on the medium and long-term chart. So dollar weakness, the dollar has steadied, but dollar weakness is still a theme on the medium to long-term charts. That means that the euro is still looking strong on all three time frames. We're just finding some support on the 60-minute cloud and potentially support here on the point and figure chart as well. So euro holding up, although it's just turning down a little bit at the moment. If we look at sterling, we're sitting at 137.84. Remembering our targets have been at the 139 level. We did get to 138.50, so not quite reaching the targets yet, but the trend is still very, very clearly up. We've gone from 127.50 to 137.50, so that's a 10% improvement for sterling. So looking strong there on the longer term picture. And against the euro, we're sitting at 113.85. We were nudging 114, but more and more we're looking like we're breaking into that long term bullish territory. So sterling looking better there as well. We're looking at Bitcoin now. Bitcoin sitting at $47,200. Has had an incredibly strong week with that Tesla jump, of course. The key thing is we've held on to that gain, so that is a very bullish sign. And most of all, we've pulled back, activating this column and giving us a new upside target to $107,000. Now, that is, of course, a very high risk target. It's a lone target. We don't see that target anywhere else. We've got a short term target to $55,990, let's say $56,000. So we need to just watch that. But Bitcoin is looking very strong, having had that pullback and breaking higher. It looks like it has got further to run. The S&P 500 index we're seeing was up very slightly yesterday. Still bullish on all three time frames with good upside targets. We will get a new upside target on this short-term chart when this column locks, but for the moment it's looking pretty bullish. And the same is true, of course, as the Nasdaq, bullish on all three time frames with an upside target of around 6%. So not quite as clear as the S&P 500 index, where we've got multiple upside targets. And if we look at that chart on the longer term 1% chart, we've got 6% there as well, but even 27%. So it's quite key but that 6% upside is looking doable. Taking a look at the futures, we're down 0.3% on the S&P future, just starting to roll over a little bit there, and the Nasdaq E-mini also just down 0.2%. So it does suggest that US markets will open slightly lower today and maybe having just a weaker end to the week. The VIX volatility is up 3%, but we've really been sitting in these low 20s all week. So the fear index is pretty sedate at the moment, not showing any real worries for the market. The FTSE future is flat this morning, so not much change there. In Germany, we've got the DAX down 0.2%, still holding the highs that we've seen broken, but we've just had a slight down week there, as that is shown by that weekly candle, but we are just holding on there. And if we look at the CAC Quarant, we're down 0.25% here, not quite anywhere near really making the new highs there. So more work to do than the German market. Japan was up slightly, the Hang Seng was up just under 0.5%, and China was up just over 0.5%. Chinese stocks still looking for a bullish run here, multiple upside targets, looking very strong indeed. The Sensex in India was down 0.7%, but it's had an amazing run. And last week, of course, was a massive jump for the Sensex. And the Aussie market still underperforming, down 2/3%. Nowhere near making new highs there either. And so that is a bit of a concern. We just seem to be struggling on that long-term cloud resistance, although we do have an upside target, some 21% higher. And the short-term targets are looking good at 6 and 10%. So we might have a better week next week. Taking a look at gold now, we see gold is down 0.5%, taking it back into bearish territory. So just still struggling to break and run. And if we look at silver, sitting at $27, actually looking a little bit better on the medium term chart, but again, just pulling away. We saw that jump on silver. It's really interesting. We've got almost like a triangle pattern here building now. So if we can break $30 on silver, that will be very, very significant indeed. So we just need to wait for the break. We have got a target to 34 and to 39. So it'll be very interesting to see whether we can break that. Looking at US 10-year yields, we're sitting at 1.15% here, just falling away a little bit this week. But again, the trends are very clearly up, and the long-term trend is starting to transition to bullish. So it does look increasingly like that 0.5% level was very much the bottom for 10-year yields, and we are now just on a track up. It'd be interesting to see if we can break that 120 level. Lots of targets suggesting we will. That has big implications for the market, of course. Looking at the energy mix, it's a pretty red day today. So we're seeing Brent crude off 1%. It's had an amazing run, so we shouldn't be that surprised. We still end the week just higher than we started. And if we look at WTI, we're off over 1%. So this $61 level might be just a push too high on Brent, and 50 would just kind of get above the $60 level for WTI. US nat gas sitting at 285. It's really stuck in this range between 275 and 3. And we've been in that range pretty much all this year so far. Taking a look at coal, we're down 1% there this morning. So slight bearish trend there. And if we look at emissions, they have had a very good week, but we are just pulling back slightly. So we started the week higher, but we have pulled back. We do have some downside targets here on emissions, so that will be quite interesting. Notice how this 60-minute target has been met and exceeded, which is slightly bearish, but we are still bullish above the cloud. Taking a look at NBP, we're down 2%. It's falling this week and breaking that 45 level. That's quite significant. And we are just seeing the beginnings on the front month contracts of seasonal change, if you like. And if we look at the TTF chart, much the same picture here. We are seeing seasonal change going on. So that's quite interesting that we're breaking that trend, breaking lower. That 17 euro level is pretty key, and we're right on that at the moment. We do have downside targets to 1665, 1675. Keep an eye on your OTC targets where you've got better OTC data. That will give you very clear granularity of where we're going next. Down 0.6% on German power this morning, bouncing right on cloud support on the 60-minute chart, so that's quite key. This 51 level really significant there, and if we break below that, we activate a target some 10% lower, so that's really quite key, and we need to just watch that. Looking at the quarterly, we're down 1.6% on the quarterly contract for German power. French power is down nearly 2%, so we are just seeing power markets falling away here. Dutch power down 2.25%, but the trends are still very much up. And if we take a look at Nordic power, we're down 1.3%. Looking better on the chart here, though, and just holding that 26 level is pretty key. Again, keep an eye on your 1-minute targets if you're trading Nordic power. That's it for today. Until Monday, have a great weekend. Happy charting. See you then.